You may be right that hateful idiots might always deny the Holocaust, but not everyone that denies the Holocaust is a hateful idiot.
If you enjoy these videos, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Also, stay tuned for some funny comments in the thread throughout the video.
What's an unfun fact? During World War I, the British intelligence service created a propaganda campaign that said that Germans were boiling their dead to extract fat and produce nitroglycerin to replenish their dwindling supply. This lie was exposed after the war, and there was a considerable amount of public outrage. When similar reports came back of the atrocities that the Nazis were committing during World War II, most people dismissed them because of the boy who cried wolf situation 20 years earlier, and really damaged the public opinion of the war, which no one wanted to repeat in the first place. Reputation is easily lost and hard to gain. Good reputation. Not to mention, at the Nuremberg trials there were similar lies about the Holocaust, saying the Nazis made Jews into soap or made furniture out of human leather. Stuff like that is partly why there are still Holocaust deniers. Lies can have far-reaching consequences. I've still heard it repeated even in the 90s. The lie about soap made of the fat of the dead and socks made of human hair was included in the book Fatherland, as well as movie adaptation. As you said, this is what makes people distrustful of the government. When intentional lies are mixed in with the truth, it becomes difficult to separate them for a while. I find the Nuremberg tall tales really troubling, as what was the point? Did prosecutors actually think they were lacking evidence otherwise? They did collect human hair. I didn't hear about them being used for socks, but it was stuffed inside coats and such as insulation. I don't remember at which site, probably Auschwitz, but you can see the disturbing giant piles of human hair there. Damn, had to Google this. German car firm used hair from Auschwitz. The amount of cloth which was pictured on Spiegel television as rolls of closely woven brownish fabric was said to have derived from the hair shorn from some 40,000 Auschwitz prisoners. Dr. Latrendo said that subsequent analysis of the hair showed that some of it contained traces of Zyklon B gas used by the Nazis to murder millions in the death camps. Made furniture out of human leather. That might have actually happened. There are allegations we can't prove wrong that Ilse Koch made lampshades out of the skin of some prisoners in the KZ Buchenwald. I saw a lampshade made from human skin at a World War II museum in PA that was claimed to be made by Koch. My 10th grade history teacher's brother inherited one of those. He, the teacher, wasn't allowed to bring it in though, shamefully. The KZ was called Buchenwald, not Buchenwalde. And while Ilse Koch was most probably a sadist or a sociopath, there was never any proof that those things actually happened. We've got to remember that the 30s, 40s was a time of rampant sexism, and people didn't stop being sexist just because they were being worked to death and tortured in a KZ. Some historians believe that those rumors spread specifically because Koch was female, and seeing a woman in such a position just added humiliation to the abused prisoners. So they may have told these things to cope. Why is there no sideways arrow? Huh? I don't know enough about this either way, but saying that you can't prove an allegation wrong is far from adequate reasoning that it is true. There is good evidence for it though. There are lamps made out of human skin, and they seem to be from that area. We can't exactly prove they were built by her, but someone with great access to human material must have. While it is absolutely true that lies can have far-reaching consequences, there is likely no amount of fair play and truthfulness that would prevent hateful idiots from denying the Holocaust. They would come up with other weightless arguments. It is important to remember that people with irrational views aren't founded in reality, and minor things like the Nuremberg trial lies were responsible for that. There are mistakes, exaggerations, and inconsistencies everywhere. There are only hateful lunatics where people decide to act like that. No one is to blame but themselves.
If you enjoy these videos, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more. Also, stay tuned for some funny comments in the thread throughout the video.
You may be right that hateful idiots might always deny the Holocaust, but not everyone that denies the Holocaust is a hateful idiot. I'm not a Holocaust denier, but there are a lot of suspicious things about it that skeptically minded people might seize upon, like how the only extermination camps were the ones that were occupied by the Soviets rather than the other allies, or that there was a long tradition of the 6 million number being used in relation to Jewish persecution long before the war, or inconsistencies in the way gas chambers were described as working, the torture of prisoners during the Nuremberg trials, etc. Now, I don't think any of that is enough to discredit the evidence that does support the Holocaust. I think it would be pretty difficult to fake something of that scale. And it's not like similar genocides haven't been observed before. But if you want to de-radicalize people, then you need to understand where they're coming from. You need to concede their fair points if you want to be able to convince them that their other points are wrong. You may think that Holocaust denial is a fringe thing, and that you can just ignore it, but it's actually only a fringe thing in the West, and even there it's growing. In the world, only 54% of the population has even heard of the Holocaust, and Holocaust denial is normal in the Middle East. As Muslim immigrants become the majority in Europe over the next few decades, it's likely the Holocaust denial will become more and more common. If you want to fight against something, you need to understand it. Citation needed for all the things you listed as examples. Also, I wonder why the extermination camps were located in Eastern Europe, almost as if they were placed in occupied territory, close to population centers where large numbers of Jews lived. I totally agree with you about the placement of the extermination camps, but Holocaust deniers can still say that the Soviets were not reliable sources. One example of the 6 million number was in the 1919 article, "The Crucifixion of the Jews Must Stop." I've seen others though. The torture of Rudolf Höss was documented in Legions of Death, the Nazi enslavement of Eastern Europe by Rupert Butler. rudolfhoess.files.wordpress.com/01/Rupert-Butler-Legions-of-X2901.jpg. Holocaust deniers have posited that if that torture happened during the trials, others could have as well. I can't find sources off the top of my head about the gas chambers inconsistencies, but I remember reading testimonies from the Nuremberg trial that said that gave conflicting gases as being used. It's not like this stuff is easy to look up, lol. All this being said, I'm not a Holocaust denier. I just think that there are some fishy things about it, and that combined with extreme censorship, Holocaust denial is even illegal in several places, is going to make a lot of people suspicious and start to question other aspects of the event. I think the best argument against Holocaust deniers is Occam's razor. It is really the most likely explanation that Nazis talked about genociding the Jews, put them in camps, shot a bunch of them, but then the rest of the genocide was an elaborate hoax. Also, we literally have documents from Hitler and the Nazis saying that the Jews could not only be relocated outside the Reich because they considered that just postponing the problem by a few years. It's famous how they had a list of British Jewish, even common people, not political or economical figure. I don't think that they had that list to send them birthday gift. Exactly 6 millions can be an incorrect number. I don't know, probably no, but even if it was 5 millions instead of 6, what would change? What makes people sick was the Nazi systematic approach to genocide. Genocide wasn't anything new, but it was oh, we really need that land, so kill everybody there. The Nazis said, we specifically want to kill Jews, doesn't matter where they are. You know what, you make a good point. I think the difficult thing is that some fraction of deniers are bigots who have already reached an emotional conclusion before seeing any evidence, and can happily go on believing insanity without any evidence, while some other fraction are more reasonable people who get confused by the occasional inconsistency. My comment speaks to the first group who start off arguing in bad faith while you are considering the second. I'm not sure what the relative sizes of each group are, and thus whose outlook is more relevant. As if taking the arms and making paddles for their boats was enough. Dude, turn me into a stick of dynamite when I die. 4th of July, here I come. Boy, were they wrong. To be fair, the Germans also decided that wearing skulls and skeletons on their uniforms were cool. Also, people don't care about the well-being of Jews. I hate it when they damage the public opinion of war. War gets a bad rap. Needs better PR. In 2014, the CDC once found a smallpox sample that they had lost and didn't even know it. It was just laying around in some random storeroom. www.npr.org/07/07/329884145/in-a--of-smallpox. This week in Storage Wars. Imagine having the fiercest of bid wars with the guy that just yells, "Yup!" just to win smallpox. But he would still make profit from it. He may know some guy. Yeah, they can rapidly produce more from where it comes from, almost infinite profit. Scariest part of the article is it makes no mention of how they got the vials in the first place. The official they interview basically says the samples are from the 50s and ends all speculations there. Yeah, that's how they got the vials. The disease existed back then and was a threat. They kept a few vials, as did Russia, in case the disease came back and they needed a base. Then losing them and not knowing they were lost is far more scary. If you skim the interview, it mentions these vials are not only known vials that went missing, they were essentially stumbled upon. I think the vials you're talking about are the two known samples which the US and Russia do still have. I simply can't understand how we went several decades thinking there were only 2 secured samples left, and then stumble on this. Crazy. Meh, this was just a virus. USA lost 8 nukes. I mean, shit happens. The password to those nukes is 0000000000 because they were lost during an intense part of the Cold War. You should have read it a little more. The samples seem to be from the 50s. Doesn't state why they think this is. I can only assume based on that info that these samples were lost long before we had eradicated smallpox and deemed the 2 samples left as the only ones. Okay, that is crazy. Yeah, I didn't really read over the article and was just thinking, well, it makes sense there was a couple of vials, the known ones. Wall Street Bets would buy puts then release. Awesome when they discover what someone has been illegally hoarding. That's a $40 bill right there. Brando! Yep! I'm going to outbid you today. I used to hate that dude, lol. Haven't watched it in like 5 years though. Watch the Canadian one. Northern Treasures? Oh, it's magnificent. I still hate that dude, but I used to too. Barry Weiss enters. I've brought my virologist friend today. She should be able to tell if I should buy this. That's like 4 bills right there, Brandon. That's a nice locker. Immediately the guy behind him. This locker looks like garbage. That's an $80 bill right there. Bids. Yep. Hey guys, I found him. Grabs a hand sanitizer. Guys, COVID is here. Use a super soaker to douse him in sanitizer. I don't want to catch you. Please stay away. We don't want to catch you. We just want to soak you up in alcohol.